Before we proceed with the next performance, let us learn about audit objective and scope of work in computerized environment. What is computerized information system? It is a system composed of people and computers that processes or interprets information. Most data nowadays are stored electronically and no physical documents are printed out. Therefore, auditors have to aware on the effect computerized information systems on internal control together with the assessment of risks. So, what is computerized information system environment? It exists when any computer being used in the processing the financial information for audit purposes, whether it is operated by the entity or third party. For example, please of computerized information system environment are hardware which consist of CPU, monitor and printer. Software, for instance, is operating system, database, and software. Transmission media which are wires and optical fiber cables. Network devices which is modem. Move on to the audit objective of computerized information system. The objectives are to reduce material misstatement in financial statements, to express an opinion of true and fair view of financial statements, and to enhance internal control of a company. There are several scope of work in computerized information system. First is low clerical error, whereby with computerized operation, audit work will become more systematic. Second is system software control, whereby it is designed to provide reasonable assurance including authorization, approval testing, implementation and documentation of new system software modifications as well as restrict access to system software to authorized personnel. Last but not least, better data handling, whereby output can be generated quickly in computerized information system environment as compared to manual system. User has to do everything digitally and is recorded all at one place, cause it to be accessed and managed easily with less effort that of other manual processes. Well, that was one amazing show. Now let's move on to the next performance by Mia on IT. Risk assessment. IT risk assessment can be defined as the identification, evaluation and estimation of risk involvement levels in a particular situation, its comparison against the standards of benchmarks, and determination of level of risk which are acceptable. Risk assessment is made by either self-assessment or is done by a third independent party. The level of depth to which the evaluation goes to is that the IT risk assessment consists of an overview of the technology, controls and policies which is set at a very high level in order to recognize the gaps and areas of risk. Most of the times, performance of IT risk assessment is so that it fulfills TE cybersecurity insurance requirements. Usually, IT risk assessment is conducted on a yearly basis or when there is a need for significant changes in the IT environment. For example, when there is an addition of software. The objective of assessing risk of IT is to identify critical IT assets, consider potential risks and evaluate controls. In assessing risks of IT, a risk assessment methodology is applied. So now, let's look into the method used for assessing risk of IT, which is PUSH. P stands for preparation activities. This is where the purpose of risk assessment is clarified and the targeted audience is made clearer. Examples of clarified purpose are disaster planning, budgeting and vendor selection. Next, U stands for universe, whereby this includes the identification of assets, risks and controls which are crucial and important. By identifying these areas, the risk factors can be highlighted according to the specifications. S is for scoring. This is where a consistent scale is chosen to rate the importance of certain assets, the risks which will have potential impacts, and also to rate on how effective the controls are. And lastly, H, hitting the mark. It is an activity to ensure that the intended purpose of risk assessment is achieved. This is so that risks are managed according to the size and complexity of the company by using suitable methods. The examples of risks of IT are: O programs are becomes outdated. O corruption of data. O unauthorized access. Let's move on to the next performance on internal control in IT. The benefits of implementing IT into the internal control are: 1. Automation of complex calculations in process a large amount of transaction data. An example is automated monthly calculation of depreciation. 2. Enhancement of timeliness, information availability and accuracy. 3. IT facilitates in the analysis of information such as the production of debtor aging analysis, Components related to internal control which are affected by IT. 1. Authority and responsibility assignment. With the aid of information technology, a clearer outline of authority and responsibility can be made. The clear outline is important to achieve the company's objective. For an example, in the manual system, each department is responsible for its own set of data. However, with the aid of information technology, all of the data in the company is centralized into the administrator. 2. Policies and procedures of human resources. The entity will need a competent staff which is an expert in the IT field in order to be able to operate the system and also be able to provide a monitoring skill together with integrity of the data. 3. Information processing. Transaction authorization is now integrated into the application program. An example is transfer of money for a purchase of materials will only need electronic signatures from the authorized personnel. However, the downturn of this is that the auditors will not be able to observe the signatures given. Documents and records are adequately kept. Since everything is stored electronically, there will not be an availability of hard copies and audit trails. 4. Segregation of duties. The latest electronic system will not need an implementation of segregation of duties due to wanting to save costs. Therefore, their ISA need to have sufficient control on the system to prevent misconduct of wrong authorization from being made. 5. Physical control over assets and records. Since records are now made electronically, IT is easily accessible from the computer terminals. There might be employees who will misuse the control over assets by creating fictitious transactions. Therefore, the company should have proper control over the assets and provide backups for the records and data file. Types of control in IT. There are two types of control in IT which are general control and application control. General control can be defined as the overall control of the information processing environment. It is also referred as a supervisory, management or information technology control. Under general control, it is further expanded into 4. 1. Data center and network operations. This is where there are no authorization in the access to the documentations, files and programs. Therefore, internal control should be implemented by having constant backup of files and rotations on the operators who are responsible for the programs. 2. Change and acquisition of system software and maintenance control. Computer systems are equipped with System S software which allows the computer to function and the applications to run. Therefore, the company should be able to have a strong control over the whole system in order for it to have a proper approval for any type of purchases of a new system or changes of a new system made, or maintenance made on existing software. 3. Access security control. There is a need to control the physical protection of assets, software and data from thefts and unauthorized usage. An example is seeing the assets in specialized room which can only be accessed by limited authorized personnels. 4. Application system acquisition, development and maintenance control. Internal control is needed in a application system as there is a need of reliable information from the system. Therefore, it is a must that experienced and specialized people are involved in the design of the system. An example is that both internal and external auditors are needed to design the accounting system software. Next, let's look into the second type of control which is application control. Application control only applies to the process of specific individual applications such as payroll and sales. Controls are needed to ensure that accuracy and completeness of the transaction are valid and reliably authorized. The first control is regarding the control over input. His is to ensure that the transactions made are properly authorized before they are processed by the system. It is also to ensure that the transactions are converted and recorded accurately into the system. Control is also needed on the inputs to ensure that there are no modifications, duplications, additions and loss of information made in the system, and that information which are incorrectly inserted are rejected, given proper corrections and are resubmitted. 2. Controls over the process and data files. This is to ensure that all the transactions are keyed in properly and data files are stored. Errors should be processed as soon as it's identified and corrected instantly. 3. Control over the output. This control should be made by designing the system to be able to provide reasonable assurance that the results processed are accurate. There are restrictions to the access of the outputs to only authorized personnels, and output is only provided on a timely basis to the authorized personnel. Everyone, we are almost at the end of our event. Are you ready to watch some more talent? But before that, let's learn on the topic on auditing through via computer techniques, CAATs. The increased reliance on computers for business created the need for auditing to be done in computerized environment. Therefore, auditors have to run through computer assist using computer-assisted audit techniques, CAATs, if they are to collect the necessary evidence. However, auditor needs to consider that computer information system, CIS, affect the audit process on the 4 areas. First, skill and competence. Auditor need to have a knowledge in obtaining sufficient understanding of the accounting and internal control, determining the effect of CIS on the procedures, designing and performing appropriate test of control and substantive test, and seeking assistance from expert. Second is planning. Auditor need to understand the significance and complexity of computer information system activities and the availability of data for use in the audit, such as assessment of risk and potential for the use of computer-assisted audit techniques, CAATs. Third is risk assessment. Risk in computer information system includes lack of segregation of duties, lack of transaction trail and potential for errors and irregularities. Fourth are audit procedures. There are 2 types which are auditing around the computer, which is used to evaluate a client's computer controls. It involves ensuring the completeness, accuracy and validity of information by comparing the input documents with the output reports. Next, auditing through the computer. It is a step taken by auditors to evaluate clients' software and hardware to determine the reliability of operations that is hard for human eyes to view, and also test the operating effectiveness of related computer controls. Now, let's move on to the nature and types of computer-assisted audit techniques, CAAT. CAATs is a tool used by the auditors to facilitate them in searching for irregularities from the data given. By using this tool, the internal accounting department of any firm will be able to provide more analytical results. CAATs are used to perform audit procedures like tests of details of transactions and balances, use of audit software to identify unusual items, use of test data to test access procedures, and use of test data to test the function of programmed procedures. These are the types of CAAT. Generalized audit software. It refers to software designed to read, process and write data with the help of functions performing specific audit routines. Custom audit software. It is generally written by auditors for specific audit tasks. Test data. Data used by the auditor to test the operation of the enterprise's computer program. Integrated test facility. An automated, ongoing technique that enables the auditor to test an application's logic and controls during its normal operation. Parallel simulation. Involves the auditor writing a computer program that replicates some part of a client's application system. Concurrent auditing techniques. Tools that auditor use to collect audit evidence on the reliability of a computer-based application system at the same time as the application system carries out live operational processing of transaction data. Computer-assisted audit techniques, CAATs, or also known as computer-assisted audit tools and techniques, CAATs, are a tool used to assist auditors in their audit procedures to simplify or automate the data analysis process. The extent to which an auditor may choose between using CAATs and manual techniques on a specific audit engagement depends on the following factors. The availability of audit time. Consider to use CAATs if the auditor has a time constraints, as this software helps to speed up the audit process. Impracticability of manual tests. May use CAATs if it's impractical to do manual tests, for example the auditor needs to handle a huge amount of data. The availability of the audit client's computer facility. The auditor can't access CAATs if the client's computer facility does not support it. The level of audit experience and expertise in using a specified CAATs. Need to have sufficient knowledge about the software to plan and execute it. Audit software is a computer programs designed to carry out tests of control and/or substantive procedures. Such programs may be classified as 1. Package programs. 2. Purpose-written programs. 3. Inquiry programs. Packaged programs are pre-prepared generalized programs used by auditor and are not client-specific. It is designed to perform numerous audit tasks: reading data, recording general entries, selecting sample, analyzing information, and perform calculation. Purpose-written programs are usually client-specific. Purpose-written programs require huge amount of cost. This program may be bought or developed by the auditor according to their own needs. However, the audit firm's audit plan should ensure that provision is made to ensure that programs are suitable for a client's system and the audit needs. It is used to carry out tests of control or substantive procedures and re-perform computerized control procedures or carry out an aged analysis of debtor balances. Inquiry programs are programs that are essential to the client's accounting system, however they may be adapted for audit purposes. Examples of audit software are Audit Express, Caseware IDEA and ACL. Audit Express is a module designed to help reduce costs, increase operational efficiency, assists in addressing the major elements of a good system of quality control, captures and analyses client financial data and transforming it into a ready platform. It smartly links audit working papers to annual reports, improves both the speed and quality of undertaking an audit engagement, while Caseware IDEA software is a comprehensive and easy-to-use data analysis software. Helps to analyze data faster. Data visualization helps to find anomalies, identify multiple similar record, own every step of audit trail. Last but not least, ACL software promotes work paper management, risk assessment, integrated audit analytic, remote offline auditing, team-based analytic, managing compliance with compliance maps. Test data is created with vision to help auditor to test the performance of the client's system. Auditor may choose to use dummy data which they created by themselves or live data. Or, they can choose to use client's data that was due for processing to manually work out the expected output using the logic and steps of the program. The data will be used to determine whether the error can be detected by client's system or not. Auditor is expecting the input rejection for incorrect data. Auditor will run the data using the program and compare the result in the end. If the outcome is come out pleasing for the auditor, program will be used throughout the year and perform as required. There are two types of test data. One is tracing. It is a walkthrough of the application's internal logic. Two is base case system evaluation BCSE, which use a comprehensive set of test transaction. Advantages of test data. Required limited technical knowledge. Usually fairly simple to operate. Helps auditor learn how the system operate. Disadvantages. Live testing is dangerous as it may affect live database. Confined to test of control only. No visible evidence of audit work. E-commerce is a commercial transaction that connects customer and supplier using the internet as a technological platform to communicate and form information between those two parties. According to Practice Note 1013, the impact of e-commerce to audit is paperless online transaction environment. Since there might be no proper records on e-commerce transaction, records can be altered or destroyed easily. Therefore, auditors should consider whether the entity's security of information policies, and security controls as implemented, are adequate to prevent unauthorized changes to the accounting system or records, or to systems that provide data to the accounting system. Other than that, the auditors may test automated when considering the integrity of electronic evidence. Depending on the auditor's assessment, the auditors may also consider the need to perform additional procedures such as confirming transaction details or account balances with third parties.